Welcome to Teabaggers, the podcast where golf meets a whole new level of attitude. I'm Dale Smedley, co-founder of Golf Gods, and I'm here to bring you behind the scenes of the brand, the sport, and the people who make golf more than just a game.
That's right. If you're here for stuffy country club talk, you might be in the wrong place. I'm Shaun Trevelyan, mostly referred to as Bear, the co-founder of Golf Gods. And if you love golf and don't take life too seriously, then grab a drink, kick back, and join us for some stories, laughs, and maybe a few hot takes.
In this podcast, we're digging into all things Golf Gods, from the crazy idea that started it all to the wins, the struggles, and everything in between. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
So whether you're a weekend warrior or just here for the banter, welcome to Teabaggers, where golf is life, but not too serious.
Let's tee it up. Teabaggers, podcast episode 5. We've finally made 5 episodes. I thought first 4 episodes received really well.
Yep.
We're refining our podcasting skills and what we want to talk about, and we've got a bit more of a golf podcast for us today.
We do, yeah.
So let's run into it. One of the things that I've noticed around the Australian PGA circuit at the moment, Dabble, a betting agency, are putting up $1 million for a hole-in-one at the PGA Championship in 2 weeks' time, in Brisbane.
Yep.
I've never seen any marketing plan like this before.
No.
What are the chances of it going off?
Look, it's going to be a good field, so I think people are going to be confident. What's the breakdown of that $1 million? Who gets it?
So the $1 million, it's uninsured. So these guys are going to actually fork over $1 million if it doesn't. So a lot of these hole-in-one prizes are done by insurance. So you pay an insurance, you cover the insurance cost, and if it goes off, the insurance company pays out. Now this is uninsured.
Love it.
$1 million, but instead of the player getting the $1 million, it's actually going to be split between the fans on course that day that register. So if you're registered for the Dabble $1 million hole-in-one, and Cam Smith steps up on the Saturday, I think the actual T's and C's on it is that it's during the coverage on the Saturday. Is that
TV
correct?
coverage, yeah.
TV coverage.
11 to 4, I think I read.
11 to 4. So you're thinking last group, you got Min Woo, you got Cam Smith. Cam Smith comes up to the tee, knocks it in, one hop, dunks it.
Yep.
That $1 million prize money is going to go off between everyone registered around the course.
Well, you and I are going to be in that crowd, so I hope someone does dunk it, and then we're going to get a share of that pie. That'll be good.
Absolutely, we'll be registered there. We're and we'll have a bit of a dabble on that day, I reckon.
Absolutely, we will.
We'll run those odds in a couple of weeks' time when the field comes out.
Yep.
$1 million by Dabble. Absolute balls on the line.
Love it.
I reckon if it goes off, the coverage it's going to get is going to get their money back tenfold.
Yep.
But I just hope it goes off to be there on that day.
Yep.
We were there on the Liv Adelaide hole-in-one,
yeah,
and the atmosphere just absolutely skyrocketed after that, didn't it?
Nothing better was there. That was wild.
Nah. So, talking about Dabble are a betting agency, so if you do check them out, make sure you bet responsible. We do have the PGA event this week. It's a bit of a Johnny Nobody field, the WW Technology Championship in Mexico.
Yes.
You going to have a dabble?
I am going to have a double on that one. I've got my eye on an old friend of ours, is a long-time Instagrammer and well known in the golf influencer circles, and that's Wesley Bryan.
Yep.
I reckon he's going to head to Mexico and get himself a top 10 spot. So,
top 10 for Wesley, and I reckon he's due. He had a few injuries and been out and about for a while, but I think his
form leading hasn't been too bad, so I'm going to definitely be having a dabble at him.
So we've got a top 10 for Wesley Bryan. My top 10 is going to be Matt Kuchar.
Yes.
Now, without doing a bit of research, I do remember a circumstance where Matt Kuchar won an event. It was this event.
It was this event.
Can you remember what years? A couple of years ago now.
2018, I've got a feeling.
2018.
Yeah.
He's won the event, probably pocketed $1 million, $750,000 or something, and failed to pay his caddy.
That's right, yeah.
Now, is that the ultimate dog act for a professional golfer? Or?
Well, look, in his defence, there was some negotiation about the payment breakdown, and there was an agreed top 10 payout, but there hadn't been an agreed winning payout. So the argument that Kuchar said was that, well, we never talked about what you'd get if I won, so you just kind of get the top 10 finish. So bit tough, but
I wonder how hard he's found to find a caddy after that situation because
they'd be ironclad contracts if they are working with him. But you reckon he's a chance this week?
Yep,
to get
I reckon
up there?
he's a chance. I reckon the field's a bit weak. I think he's still strong.
Yep.
He's got track record there. So I've got him for a top 10.
Yep.
And then we've done a little bit of a joint multi.
Yep.
We've done Wesley Bryant top 10, Matt Kuchar in this multi top 20, and a Cameron Young. Now Cameron Young was on fire a couple of years ago, but probably struggled the last few years and haven't really seen the best of him. So I reckon he's due in 2024.
Yeah.
And let's see if that gets up. You can follow our bets on Dabble. Check it out if you haven't. That's where we like to have a bet, but always bet responsibly.
Indeed, you do.
Yeah. So at the PGA Championship this year, we do have a lot of Australian golfers coming back from America to play.
Yep.
Adam Scott's apparently pulled out.
Yep.
So he's out. Obviously, we've got Cameron Smith, the other Liv guy.
There's Lucas Herbert
playing.
Minwoo
Lee, which was massive for the crowd last year. Everyone wore the chef hats and got around him. So I'm hoping that sort of kicks off again this year. The one that always gets me is Jason Day.
Yes.
Now, Jason Day was due to come back to Australia and play prior to COVID, possibly 2018-19, was it?
Yep.
Was that when it was?
Yeah, the last time he's been here was 2017. So I think since then, every year there's a discussion around it. And
one of the times he was 100% in, and all of a sudden, with a week to go, he's pulled out with a back injury.
Yes.
Now, to me, that fucking annoyed me.
It did. It did. You were frustrated about it.
I was quite annoyed. Jason Day, one of the great Australian golfers, hasn't been back in Australia for a long time. I understand he had some family things that kept him in America as well, but it's going to be absolutely amazing to see Jason Day tearing it up in Australian soil again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to having him back, and I think Cam Smith probably quoted as saying right up your alley that it's been about 123 years since Jason Day's been back in Australia. So,
100%.
They're looking forward to having him back here.
And the great thing is Jason Day is actually in really good form at the moment. It's probably the best we've seen him since I remember him having those fainting episodes. Remember the vertigo thing? He was sort of falling over in the middle of a round and type thing.
Yep.
And it's probably the best form we've seen since then. So it's going to be a great field, the PGA Championship. Probably the best one we've had in 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
We're going to be there definitely on the Saturday, so keep a lookout for us. Let's see who wins, but we'll give our odds next week when we're a little bit closer to the thing. Moving on from that, one of my little pet things, and we have the discussions all the time on a golf course, is putting with a glove on.
Yes.
Now, I know you're a big fan of putting with a glove on and things like that. Can you explain to the viewers at home what your theory is around... Let's start off with your handicap first.
Right.
Let's put it in perspective.
Okay, so I'm a 22 handicapper. I don't play competition golf very often.
Yep.
I think I would probably be more around 18, 19 if I regularly put cards in.
Yep.
So a few shots better, but I'm 22. And I putt with my glove on.
You putt with your glove on. Is that the ultimate, red flag for a golfer? Or
Well, I think when I was playing and we started to play, I just kind of thought, okay, I know they take it off on TV, but I just don't think with my ability the glove's going to make any difference. I think I'm either going to putt well or I'm not going to putt well.
Yep.
And I just feel like I'm adding another layer of complexity by taking it off, neatly tucking it.
Yep.
So I just feel like
I'll
just run with it.
Keep the tan, get the glove tan happening.
Just make sure that's really
Now, I reckon this is
solidified.
another content piece for us. I reckon we do a bit of a putting contest with you. Glove on, glove off. To be honest, it's up there with iron covers. If you rolled up with iron covers...
That is harsh. That is a very harsh.
So there he's rolled into the golf course. He's got iron covers on. He's got his glove on from the round before still. He's forgot to take it off at the bar even. Let us know at home.
Insult. That's a hell of a call, Dale. Jeez.
Let us know at home. But I reckon putting with a glove on, there's obviously been some pros that are absolute
we've got
jets.
Daniel Gale on the Australian tour.
And we met him the other week, and he's a great lad. So
he's a great lad, and he's happy
well.
to hear that I rock with the glove.
Yep.
But he's a multiple winner on the Australian tour.
Yep.
We've obviously had Jack Nicklaus, who's the best ever, arguably.
Yep.
He always putted with the glove on.
Yep.
I just feel like as well, for amateurs, to me, it's a bit like when you get up on the green and you see the amateurs and they're measuring who's the closest and, you're the furthest, you've got to go. I feel like it's just a bit like, come on, guys, let's just get on with it.
Up.
We're amateurs out here. Let's just grab the club. I'm a left-hander, so I use a right-handed glove. So I'll grab my club, just get up there and get on with it.
Yeah, there you go. So one of the other blokes, I'm not actually sure if he actually wore it putting, but he wore 2 gloves, old Tommy 2 gloves.
Tommy 2 glove, yeah.
On the PGA Tour. He's the Rob Kraft style, getting caught in Florida massage joints when he was married on tour. And that's a whole nother story we can go into the podcast. But, there's 2 things I reckon that you do that probably piss most people off. One's putting with your glove on, and another one's putting with the flag stick in.
Yeah.
The hole is 100%, not 100% smaller, but definitely smaller when the flag stick's in the hole.
Well, I will tell you, Dale, that there has been studies to prove that flag stick in is not as good as flag stick out. So there has been studies that I'm wrong with that one. I just do prefer it in. I haven't seen the studies about the glove. So I reckon that the glove's just a bit of a thing that people do. And I don't reckon there's any evidence behind whether it performs.
There you go. One of the things we did see at the Queensland PGA Championship on the weekend was Phoenix Campbell. He did make a putt. It was rolling in hot, and this was to win the tournament, putt to win, and it's literally gone over the back. And if that had the flag stick in, it's hit the flag stick and dropped. Didn't have the flag stick, hit the back of the hole, popped out, was a foot, went to a playoff. He ended up winning. But that's a circumstance where the flag stick would have helped him, but it's definitely making the hole smaller. So two things for next round, Bear. Take your glove off, take your iron covers off, and take the flag stick out.
I don't do iron covers. That's fake. That's fake news.
All right. So one of the things we did got announced this week was the Liv Golf Adelaide ambassador.
Yes, we did get the media invite to be there. Unfortunately, it was the day we were playing the Pro-Am, so we weren't able to attend. But we did see the big announcement. And who was it, Dale?
Mick Fanning is the thing. And we did do a bit of research because we've never seen event ambassadors for golf events. And we can't find any in the PGA. We can't find any in Liv anywhere else. So this is a unique thing to the Adelaide Liv event. Now, I think the PR company that's put this together has thought, we need an ambassador. I love Mick Fanning. You know, he's punching sharks in the head, doing all those crazy things. Nice guy. Probably not the best golfer, but the party atmosphere that Liv brings in Adelaide, I think that's going to be right up his alley. So I'm sure he's going to walk around, kiss some babies' heads, shake some hands, and
rip a few shoeys and
be part of the party.
His keep. Yeah, I can see that happening for sure.
So yeah, well done to Mick. Looking forward to catching up when in February when the event's on.
Yep.
That sort of got us on to looking into like Liv sponsorship, PGA sponsorship, and things like that. And we noticed one of the events last week was the Shriners Children's Hospital Open.
Yep.
And there was some news come out of that last week that they are pulling their sponsorship after 18 years.
Yes.
And we have seen a lot of these big brands sort of jump off the PGA. What do you think some of the reasons for these sponsorships are jumping off?
Well, I reckon firstly there's probably a, in the current climate these days with interest rates and the way politics there's cost of living, all these sort of topics, especially in America. So that's probably been a factor for some companies.
Yep.
There's no doubt that the fields are diluted now without the Liv players.
Yeah, definitely the best players aren't just playing.
If Golf Gods were sponsoring a PGA event and you told me that we don't have John Rahm, Bryson,
Dustin,
Cam Smith, we're going to go, we're not sponsoring that event.
Nah.
Would be. So that's probably a factor as well for a lot of these companies. There's been a few now that's pulled out, Dale. I think,
Wells Fargo is one of the bigger ones that I know. Farmers Insurance, the Sanderson Farm one, that's actually going to be happening for the last time this year, but it's actually contracted 2026. So they've pulled out of their contract 2 years early. So that's a big move to be contracted and then just pull out.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't see many of these guys jumping over to Liv. But I think the diluted fields is probably one of the big ones.
Yep.
Obviously, the crowds on these particular lower events aren't anywhere near as big as some of the other ones.
No, and they don't get the same interest. I don't know how you feel about it, but the last 3 or 4 years since Liv, really, you don't hear as much about the smaller events anymore. It felt like you were hearing lots about every week, every event. Now you don't hear about them.
Yep.
So from a sponsor's point of view, you're just not getting the exposure.
The coverage.
No one's talking about it.
So I'd be interested to follow who sort of jumps off next, or if there is a big sponsor that even jumps on, because there's obviously some opportunities there to.
Well, we might see some of these guys jump onto the YouTube golfers though.
Yep.
So that could be a thing too.
And as I said, the views on the YouTube golf are just skyrocketing at the moment. Like the engagement, how many people actually want to tune into these non-professional golf content creators to play golf is astronomical.
I need to do some research to see if any of them putt with a glove on, because maybe amongst that
crowd,
I
don't think any of those good guys are putting with a glove on, mate.
They should try it one time.
So obviously, with this sponsorship jumping off, we've got the Liv and the PGA merger, and that's been going on for a couple of years already.
Yep.
Now there is a bit of media around this week around they are slowly coming to an agreement.
Yep.
Do you want to explain what the Sun UK have sort of released on that agreement?
Yeah, so according to the Sun in the UK, they're saying it's going to be the Saudi public investment fund are going to be purchasing 11% of the PGA Tour for $1.4 billion.
$1.4 billion, around that, US dollars. That's a lot of money.
And that will give them 2 chairs on the board of the PGA Tour, including the chairman. So
it's going to have they're going to be able to have their say with what happens.
Exactly. Yep. And I think from a fan's point of view, we hope, there's been no reports of this, but hopefully that means some of the Liv guys can come back and play PGA Tour events, which will bring a bit more interest into those.
Probably bring those sponsors back as well.
Could get the sponsors interested again. And so that's what we're hoping as a fan. You want to see the best playing, and I don't know, like there hasn't been any reports regarding whether PGA guys are going to join Liv teams and do both, or any understanding of that yet. But
one of the reports is that Tiger Woods and Rory have apparently been major contributors into the agreement. Which doesn't surprise me. They're basically the Players Association for the PGA Tour anyway. Now, there was a little bit of chat around some of these PGA guys are going to get compensated.
Yes.
Now, what are your thoughts around that? Me personally, I'm like, mate, you didn't take the money, you didn't take the leap, you didn't take the risk. Like, why do you get any extra money that these other guys?
I agree with you, Dale. I think that, in life you get your choices, you make your decisions. These guys made massive calls to join Liv and were compensated for those calls, but they were also criticised heavily and went through a lot. And ultimately, if you decided to stay and you didn't jump, then I'm not sure why you should sort of get compensated from the Saudi fund anyway. PGA Tour have raised their prize money in a number of events, so they have tried to filter more money back down to players, but ultimately, Phil Mickelson was very vocal about them gatekeeping a lot of money and resources for players, which is why a lot of them left in the first place.
And that's probably deep down why the merger actually came, because from my understanding is the PGA wouldn't want to open up their books to the public, and if this all went to court and Liv and PGA were in court together, these documents are probably going to come out somehow, one way or another. And I just don't think what Phil was saying, if that comes out, then the players are going to be even more pissed. I think that was probably the reason why they ended up saying, hey, let's agree and chat together. And then it's taken a year or so to actually still come to an agreement. And that's probably going to take a year or so as well. One thing I did miss off the top, your polo that you're wearing, we got a number of comments. I wore that last week. I've got the new one, our Mexican-inspired drop, which is actually dropping in December. So you can't get it now. You won't be able to get it at Black Friday.
No.
It will come in December. But I'm going to quickly turn around. I don't even know if the camera will catch it, but we've got the little patch on the back. You've got yours on there. I think these are something completely different to the market that we haven't seen before. Tacos and tequila. Who doesn't love that?
It's a great call, Dale. Well designed, and as usual from Golf Gods, and looking forward to them being released soon.
So marketing day, when we shoot that, all I'm thinking, tacos, tequila, drunk, golf.
Living the dream.
Done. So look out for these polos in December. They'll surely be a hit and won't last long. But yeah, if anyone that was asking or intrigued from our last episode, when are they dropping? It will be in the middle of just before Christmas, first or second week in December.
Tuned.
So stay tuned there. All right. Now, one of the things that popped up on my socials this week was Tom Kim.
Yes.
Now, if you saw Tom Kim, lovely young fella, it looked like he broke the door on the locker at, was it the Zozo Championship?
The Genesis Championship in Korea. So, yeah, he'd missed a birdie putt to win or something. I didn't even get the full details, but the aftermath was that he wasn't happy, and there was an image of a door no longer connected.
Just falling off the hinges, sort of slightly lent up back where it was. So obviously the club wasn't too happy with that. Now, he does have a little bit of a track record of some anger issues in the past. I think the one that we did a bit of research into it. In August, he swung his putter, left a divot on the green, walked off and let his caddy repair it.
That's pretty rough.
Anyway, so he's got a bit of a temper issue. He said he's denied it, didn't do it, just sort of closed the door and it fell off the hinges. So obviously
happens to the best of us, that's those type of accidents when we're angry after a round of golf, Dale.
And that's it. So what it made us do is have a look into the golf's biggest dummy spits. Now, We're going to run through a couple of the biggest ones. Then we're going to have a bit of our say on our own.
Yeah.
And then what we want you guys to do is after this, when this goes live, is tell us what you guys, your biggest dummy spit, your friend's biggest dummy spit. We want to hear your stories.
If there's footage, share it. But even if it's just a story, send it through.
Yep. One of the ones that we did was Sergio Garcia's tree trouble in 2019 in the Saudi International.
Yep.
He made the headlines for damaging greens in frustration and lashing out at the sand in the bunker.
It was an iconic image of him smacking his bunker, wasn't it?
It was. So we'll run these as we talk through them. That was classic. One of the ones that I find very, very funny is Phil Mickelson when he's basically just deliberately hitting a moving ball at Shincock.
It was actually, I think that's my favourite one. I remember watching it live and just being like, what is
the
he
hell
thinking?
are you doing? And he just didn't give two shits, did he? It was so fucking funny.
Yep.
The other one that is quite iconic is the John Daly walk-off.
Yep.
Do you want to explain what happened to that one?
Yeah, so John Daly. Now, Australian Open, we have a bit of a history of bringing over the big US golfers. Jordan Spieth we've seen live a few times, and Tiger Woods made a number of appearances. Now, John Daly, 2011, probably past the peak of his powers as a golfer, but still a massive draw. It was a huge get for the Australian Open. He hit a number of balls into the water and apparently then didn't have any more balls in his bag.
What happened was he hit one into the bunker. He got up to the bunker and there was someone else's ball from the driving range there.
That's right, yeah.
And then what happened, he hit the wrong ball without checking whose ball it was because it was in the bunker, and then turned around and he said he had no more balls in his bag.
That's what happened, yeah.
So he hit one. So then I think he just shook his playing partner's hand, walked off, said, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah. There's he stormed off, and then they revoked his playing rights for I think the PGA was after the Australian Open that year, and he was supposed to play both, and they immediately said, sorry, mate, you're not coming.
So he's just gone home, back to Hooters, back to smoking a few darts and a few Diet Cokes.
Yeah.
One of the other ones my favourite was there's a couple we're going to quickly talk about. The Rory McIlroy club toss. I think it must have been a 3-iron. He's put it about 40 metres, 100 yards to the left. He's then just walked up off the tee box and flung his 3-iron into the lake.
It was a real clean throw, wasn't it?
It was
perfect.
A real
smooth, clean, almost
classic.
Yeah, real
But then
classic.
I think from memory, and I am going off memory, some of the guys in the crowds just jumped in the lake, swam and got his 3-wood. Now, that's probably worth $500-600, maybe even a bit more. So well worth getting wet for.
Definitely.
And then the final one, I think this is the most craziest one. We've got Woody Austin's head smash. In 1997 at Verizon Heritage, Woody Austin has attempted to make a shot, missed the water, and then furiously bent over the putter, bent it against his head.
Yeah,
so
he slammed it into his
head. We'll show the
head.
footage, but he's just smashing his putter against his head. Now, that's going to leave you a bit of a headache, isn't it?
Give you a headache. It's damaged his shaft, so he was going to be in a bit of trouble after that, I would have thought.
So there's some of our favourite dummy spits of all time.
Yep.
Now, my memory of my dummy spit, very early on in my golf career, I was hitting through the trees, often using a 8-iron to sort of get me out of trouble, to chip back onto the fairway, and duffed the chip, duffed it again, snapped the 8-iron over my knee, and that was That was it. Now I felt great at the time. Got rid of some of them, got it out of the system. But my issue was the next 10 rounds I played, I'd go get my favourite 8-iron out, and there was no 8-iron in the bag. So for the next sort of 10 rounds, or till I could actually afford a new 8-iron, I didn't have an 8-iron.
It was funny because you would just not think to fix it in between rounds, and then we'd get on the course. It's like, here's your distance for your trusty 8-iron, Dale.
Don't have one.
Don't have one.
So that was one of the most annoying things. So I don't think I've broken a club since.
Yep.
I've definitely thrown a couple, but don't go breaking clubs unless you can afford to buy another one, is the moral of that story. What about you? Can you remember one?
Well, I had a bad one playing at Glenelg Golf Club. It was with Mark Soderstrom and a good friend of ours, Jared Sherlock, both good friends of ours. And I had a bad day. I had 15 points for the entire round. So justified my
Probably your last handicap round you put in, wasn't it?
Could have been. I had enough after that. But it was about the 16th hole and I've duffed a chip and I've just been frustrated all day. I was doing dry January, so I was sober, which is unusual for the course as well. And I flung my club up into the tree and it didn't come down. So in my shorts and my polo, I've climbed the tree to get it down. And just in the meantime, it just cut myself to ribbons on all the branches, and I was just up there thinking, like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. Like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
So that was the last time I've even thrown a club. I thought after that, no more throwing clubs.
But you got your club back. So
Got
that
it
was
back at least, and
well
it wasn't
worth
damaged.
it. So that's our 2 stories. We want to hear yours. So make sure you send it in to it by Instagram, DM, email. We'll send a link out or whatever it is.
Yep.
But make sure you send us your stories. We want to hear them. We'll repeat them out on our next podcast.
Yep.
And that will be great.
Perfect.
So from following on from those dummy spits, we've all had them. We want to hear your dummy spit stories. But what a great episode.
Yep.
Definitely look out for us on the Dabble to get in on our bets. You can copy those. We'll have a link in the description on our YouTube video. That's a wrap for episode 5. Another one in the books. Great episode.
Done well, Dale. I like the dummy spit segment. I thought you were a bit hard on me with the glove, but, I've probably got to pay for that, don't I? So.
Nah, absolutely. We will be definitely recording that segment. We're going out this week. We've got 10 putts with a glove on, 10 putts with a glove off, and I can guarantee you the feel on that club in his hands is going to change his game forever. So let's tee it up. Teabaggers episode 5. That's a wrap.